We all heard the reports like, oh, dude, the first 10 minutes is so crazy, the French would suck le bleu and banned it in their country. And we heard that they're gonna unalive a kid. And then we saw the teaser trailer like, oh man, a little girl? Maybe a little boy, like Pennywise could kill a little boy, but a little girl's precious. She's a princess. And to be fair, the little girl should have said something. She thought it was Santa, but Santa's go sneaking into people's rooms like that. Her brother got unalived, and you're like, whoa. But then he also goes and gets the dad first, and then the mom wakes up, and then it's like Art chases her around the house and then gets her downstairs. The little girl hid while Art Santa, had his milk and cookies with his axe. But the little girl got found hiding in a cabinet, and you're like, I guess she's gone too. This cop picks up right when Terrifier 2 ended, sees Art's body, calls for backup, but then the body comes to life and grabs him from behind. Victoria is seen eating somebody right in the cell after giving birth to the head. Yeah, the Clown Cafe girl and Chris Jericho were like the nurses on duty at this time, and she's the one that come into the room, and all you see is her being eaten. And then his body goes to the insane asylum to meet up with
Victoria's
his
that
newly born
strong
head.
to pick him off the ground by his mouth, this former AEW world champion.
And then they both sort of rip him apart.
This only makes sense that it happens on the Halloween night. Because what? His head attaches back to his body. How the hell else other people gonna be like, what the fuck is that? They must be going to a Halloween party or something.
He
like
must
that.
have like a year-round bus pass because Art loves taking the bus in this one, dude. He rode the bus like 3 times. They actually found an Art the Clown cosplayer on the same bus, and then the next scene, Art has like his new fresh threads. They're like, oh, all right, cool. He unloaded that guy and got some new clothes. Victoria and Art go to a safe house, and then she does her Bob from SLC Punk impression. Yeah, Art and Victoria, they decide just like, all right, dude, let's just wait out 5 years. And they go to like sleep mode until a demolition crew comes by one day and, you know, they're all full of cobwebs and such. And then they pop back to life. Victoria pops out of her tub, and Art pops out of his like cobweb state. Man, his friend got it way easier than he did because he had a box cutter on him, and let's just say, he got peeled like a potato, but sort of like from the scalp down the middle. Art goes for a stroll, and it's Christmas time, I guess, when they woke up, and there's a bar. And these two girls are like the luckiest two females in this whole franchise, because they just bump into Art real quick, like leaving the bar, and they lived. They actually saw Art and lived to talk about it. But I guess Art was walking by and just went like, hey dude, what's going on inside this bar? And the Santa was being friendly and buying him drinks and everything. And I think he was probably like, oh, this guy's a circus performer, or maybe he's like special needs or something like that. So he's like, yeah, sure. And he like made friends with him a little bit. But Art gets up to a point, I guess this is why he doesn't make friends, you know? He pees on him. Then it's like, get the hell out of here. But then you go, man, he brings out a gun. You're like, why, dude? I did not like that Terrifier 1, but I guess it makes sense in this setting. He takes the Santa outfit, puts it on, and then he makes this, like, nitrogen extinguisher or something like that, freezes this dude, and then picks him apart with a hammer. After all the events that happened in Terrifier 2, Sienna is severely traumatized. PTSD, all that. So she's been in and out of mental facilities for the past like 5 years. Her aunt and uncle actually take her in, you know, because her whole family's sort of dead. I mean, she's an adult now, but, you know, it's nice to be around family, especially the Jonathan is staying at a college, and Sienna's about to see him in a couple of days. She's like, all right, cool, let me go shopping at the mall with my niece. And then one of her visions is happening, baby. And the Clown Cafe starts playing over the loudspeaker, and there you go, dude. She sees Art for the first time. She don't know he's wearing a Santa outfit, but she just goes like, dude, that is certainly peculiar. Like, he just has this look with the sack and the bloody gloves, so she has a feeling it's him. Art the Clown intuition, and it takes a little bit convincing, but she tells Jonathan she has to go back to the Terrifier to get that magical sword. And she even has a dream, like, what, demons made this sword or something? Or Jonathan did some research, it's like, well, she needs the sword to kill this demon, and that's what Art the Clown is. You're like, oh, okay, we finally got, like, an explanation. But you're like, oh, man, that's gonna be crazy, going back to the Terrifier, and she does that totally off screen. Barely an inconvenience at all to get that sword again. I mean, if this sword has magical healing powers and such and can only kill, I like the sword just because it was her daddy's anyway, but now she just like, I forget, I'll just leave it where I had it. Like, no, man, I would sleep with that sword underneath my pillow, dude. Well, she was at a mental facility. Yeah, I don't think they frown upon carrying swords there. She was totally right about Art the Clown being at the mall, and what was he doing at the mall? I guess he just, like, Santa was on break, so he decided to step into the chair. Bunch of kids saw him, ran up like, oh, he's giving away presents. And this part's really messed up because one of those presents happened to be a bomb. I thought the kid part was just in the beginning, like, alright, I guess these kids could be safe, but I was like, oh no. Please, Sienna, take this fool out. Jonathan at the college has a roommate who has a really fine sort of true crime podcaster girlfriend who's very obnoxious, like, oh man, I want you on my podcast, I think she's crazy, Sienna should be in jail. So as an audience, we hate her, and now you're like, well, yeah, Art's gonna deal with her. And I gotta say, this is the Alley's bedroom of this movie. The guy almost gets even worse. Like, he tries to walk, his leg falls off, and it's something to do with a bug. Like, you remember the first one where the girl got split in half? This time it happens to a guy with a chainsaw. He did some funny stuff too, like smelled the foot and thought it was gross, and put sunglasses on the girl. But yeah, the Blood Angel as well was pretty neat. So Sienna went on a solo mission to go get that sword, but she goofed and left it under the tree and fell asleep. Oh, the mom gave her like Xanax, but still, dude, she fell asleep. Sleep with that sword underneath your pillow, dude. Art the Clown comes to the house, beats the hell out of her, and then you see the body of the dead uncle, knocks her out with a mallet. They come to, the mom is tied up, and then he gets all Game of Thrones on her with Victoria's there too as a spotter and puts a rat down her mouth, and you're like, oh dude, that was totally on Game of Thrones. They unwrapped the cage and said, that's Gabby's skull. Then they went, no, dude, she's right here. But if you put glasses on the skull, that's Jonathan. I don't think they killed this fool, like, off screen like that. Yeah, you could have messed with him, like, hey, man, a lot of people wear glasses. I can't tell that's him. Or he's like, all right, we got to break down their spirit so I can eventually possess her. And they're still trying to break down her spirit, and they go, here, open this gift. And they just got overconfident, and the gift was the sword, and she was able to chop Victoria's head off, stab Art, but then a hole opened up in the ground and swallowed Gabrielle up, and she was unable to get her. It swallowed her up, and Art made his escape and got onto a bus. That's bold because it's not Halloween time. This is Christmas time. So, shit, I guess you gotta wait till part 4 to see what happens.